Hi, everyone. I think we're going to get started. So thank you so much for coming out to our panel. The panel is from Soundtrack to Stage, starting and running a gamer orchestra. And today, my name is Michelle Ng, and up here with me are a group of panelists from all over the country. Each of us has either started or is running a gamer orchestra. And we all do this because we love video game music. How's everyone's MAGFest going so far? Good? Awesome.
The tired response says it all.
Yeah.
Says it all.
Yeah, so. Yeah, awesome. So I just want to see how many people here are currently in some type of gamer orchestra. Raise your hand. Okay, awesome. That's a lot. How many of you are musicians, but you maybe not involved with a GSO? Oh, wow.
They said there was a what?
No, sorry. Like you're a musician, but you're not currently involved with a gamer orchestra. Okay,
The goal
perfect.
today is to get you guys as a part of an orchestra.
Oh, hey Dean.
Can we save you a seat, then?
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's see. So today's panel, we're going to do about like 45 minutes. I'm going to moderate and ask these guys a bunch of questions, and then the last 15 minutes, well, I'm going to do announcements after 45 minutes, and then take Q&A. So let's get started. My name is Michelle Ng, as I said, and I'm the founder of the University of Maryland Gamer Symphony Orchestra, and I'm also founding member of the Washington Metropolitan Gamer Symphony Orchestra. And Joe, you want to start with a self-introduction?
Hi guys, my name is Joe. I'm the current sitting vice president of the Washington Metropolitan Gamer Symphony Orchestra, which is really a mouthful. I'm also one of the founding members, and if you guys don't know, we're going to be on the main stage at 1:30 today, so come check us out.
If it was 10:30, you'd be in trouble. My name is Joel Gutman. I'm one of the co-founders of the Magruder High School Gamer Symphony Orchestra and the president emeritus of the University of Maryland Gamer Symphony Orchestra. I now work at a mobile developer in Texas doing community management and QA work.
I'm Elise Jimenez. I am the founder and conductor of the Montclair Gamer Symphony Orchestra. I also design audio for games, and that's basically it.
Okay. My name is Tyler Modesto. I am the co-founder of the 8-Bit Orchestra at the University of Delaware, and I am also president emeritus. But I decided that no, I don't want to do music. I want to do computer science instead.
Hello, I am Marshall Peer. I am the founder and conductor of the Seattle Video Game Orchestra and Choir. I'm also a sound designer, and I also am the co-producer of the Travelers VGM. We do folk covers of video game music. Pretty cool.
I'm Emmanuel. I'm the founder of the Summoners Orchestra. I'm also an audio designer, and yeah, that's about it.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Yu. I'm the current standing president of the Gamer Symphony Orchestra, University of Maryland. Just a software engineer who does a bit of game debbing on my own time.
Hi, I'm Kira Levitsky. I'm the conductor emeritus of the UMD GSO, and I'm also the founder and director of the Baltimore GSO.
Hi everyone, my name is Dean. I am the founder and the current conductor for Rochester's Institute of Tech Gamer Symphony Orchestra. I'm also a sound designer as well for actually a couple of popular indie games, such as The Long Dark, Rivals of Aether, and a couple of other like small indie games here and there. So yeah.
Okay, great. So just wanted to show you guys, this is a website I created for this panel in particular. So if you guys want to read a little bit more about our bios, you can go to this website, and then if you click more, panelists, you can read a little bit more about each of us, and our contact information is all on there. Okay, so how this all started was, at least for me, and I'll let the other panelists share, is, when it was like, oh, video games live, it's really cool. I really love video game music. And, I've played an orchestra since I was in middle school, and I was like, it'd be kind of cool to play in one. So I was like, maybe I should start one. So that's kind of how I got into video game orchestras. And so my first question for everybody, starting with Joe, will be, why did you start or get involved in the video game music orchestra?
All right, so I got a kind of a weird story. In college, my freshman year, I was at the University of Maryland, and my roommate was like, "Hey, Joe, you enjoy music, and you also like video games. You should join this video game music orchestra." And I remember sitting there being like, "Man, I don't really want to sit around just playing Mario over and over and over again." And so I didn't join until my junior year of college, and then that's when I kind of realized the depth and breadth of video game music and how just incredibly like it's all it's just Mario music, but even the Mario music is so in depth and there's a lot to it. And so now, 7 years later, I'm still running an orchestra and playing video game music, and I'm still enjoying it.
So I was a junior in high school when I was shown a clip from the Washington Post advertising the Maryland GSO's Fall 2008 concert. I went and had a great time. I've always loved video game music. Like when I was little, I would hold my Game Boy up to my ear and just listen to the themes that I enjoyed. Next day at school, one of the friends that I had dragged along to the concert said, "Hey Joel, I want to start a GSO." And I told him, "You're crazy, let me help you." So we did, and we were fortunate enough to have a supportive band director at our high school. And when I got to the University of Maryland, I was like, well, I want to help other people do this and not have to reinvent the wheel. So when I got to Maryland, I sort of helped spearhead a bit of an expansion initiative that I certainly can't take credit for everybody sitting up here, but I sort of became the point of contact that when people were interested in starting a GSO, that they got in touch with me and I helped other people coordinate stuff.
So, I guess I kind of started out like I was, struggling with my composition and arrangement, and I was working on music, and I was just thinking, it'd be really nice if somebody performed this music. So I actually reached out to the UMD group, which Joel was a part of at the time. I'm not sure, Joe. I think you're kind of in passing. Okay. So I reached out to these wonderful people, and I was like, "Hey, I arrange music. Would you let me, submit some arrangements?" And they're actually super cool about it, and they let me do it. And I actually came down and had a blast, and had my first orchestral premiere with these guys, and got to play in the concert. And they were super cool. And then, I went back home to New Jersey, the barren wastelands, and I was just wondering, like, "Hey, this would be really nice if we had something like this here." Oh wait, I'm gonna make one, and that's how that got started.
Nice.
Yeah, I was that really weird kid that would sit in a Sonic game just at a level select thing, just listening to all the various soundtracks in the game. And then I started getting into clarinet because I wanted to be more like Squidward. And then I wish that was a joke. It's not a joke. And then I got to college, and a bunch of us went to the Smithsonian, and the Maryland GSO was playing there. And we were all pretty much just like, why didn't we think about doing this before? And we all just started talking, and we decided, you know what, hey, let's do it at UD.
Yeah, my story was actually quite funny too, because I think it was 6 years ago, I met Joel at a video game live concert talking about his group. And at that time, I was at UCLA, and I was a classical guitar major, but I was the only classical guitar major, so I was really lonely, and I wanted to make music for other people. So there were no community groups. I'm like, hey, I'm going to start my own. And then we ended up getting 50 plus people because the school didn't have like a community orchestra. It was just like for the music majors. And we wanted to kind of have all this great music played, because even back in high school, we got to play like Shikari and a bunch of Blizzard music. And yeah, and then when I moved to Seattle, I'm like, hey, I want to continue doing this. This is great. And then yeah, just kind of grew from there. And people love this music.
Great.
Okay, so first off, I want to say that I wish I met all of you guys before I started my group. 'Cause honestly, I had no idea all this stuff existed before the Summoners Orchestra was even started. I did that basically on an ongoing relationship with Summoners Con in California. My second year there, I said, hey, I want to do something bigger than just hand you guys music to play between panels. Can we do a live performance? And they're like, yeah, sure. What do you need? I need members. I need, all that kind of stuff and whatnot. And so they helped me advertise. And because of that, we were able to create an awesome community orchestra that still got a relationship online. We still talk with each other and hang out and still perform every once in a while.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in a household with very little games. Obviously, had to study, had to do stuff that was royally boring, and then had to practice piano that was also royally boring. So I grew up with, the habit of not liking a lot of things, and then video games was the one thing that was kind of like they say escapism, right? But I was like, I kind of have to remedy this because a part of me wants to be productive. So why not combine it with music, which was considered productive, right? So that was my excuse to do something fun, but also that didn't trip my guilt consciousness. So I actually joined the GSO my second semester of college, because first semester of college I was in the film symphony because I just wanted to play something interesting. Gamer symphony I find is very unique because the pool is not only so large, it's that everybody views gaming music differently. And that's very interesting. I love piecing together these puzzles, and that's why I really started with it. That's it for me.
To piggyback off of the not having a lot of video game in my life, my story is kind of like a tragic beauty kind of thing, if if I could call it that. I'll do the too long didn't read version. So when I was 8, I had a sleepover party, and my best friends, all while I was sleeping, stole my Pokemon cards and my Game Boy and shoved them in their sleeping bags and took them. And my mother said, "You cannot have friends anymore," and I didn't. So, when I got to college, I was still living at home, and I was commuting. And at the time, I didn't know it, but my mom had cancer, and I had to take care of her. And so I had no friends still. And I was like, how can I make friends? I hate video games. Video games are stupid. They're awful. I hate them because I was 8. And so I got there, and I was like, what music stuff could I do? What music stuff could I do? And there was this thing, and it was the video game. I was like, no, why is it video games? And I went, and I was like, this is going to be awful. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And I sat there, and all of a sudden, I'm a flute player. I heard this flute part, and it was from Zelda. And I sat there, and I almost like crapped my pants. I was like, what is this? This is awesome. Like, this sounds just as good as the stuff that I play, and I'm a music major. And so at that point, my professor, he came to me. He was like, Kira, you got to quit this. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're a double degree, performance and ed. You can't do this and that orchestra. You're going to ruin your GPA. It's going to be awful. And I said, and he's like, why are you so upset? I'm like, well, my mom has cancer, blah, blah, blah. He said, you shouldn't think about that during your flute lesson. So I gave him the finger and left, and stayed with GSO, and yeah. Thank you. So then after that, switched professors, all sorts of stuff. And then got to work with some amazing video game composers, got to do some amazing things I've never, done. And I knew it was a huge moment when the dean said, he knew me. He said, Kira Levitsky, I'm going to shake your hand. Thank you for all you did with the GSO. And I was like, oh, he knows me because of this group. Not because I'm a music major, because of this group. And then I moved to Baltimore. No friends again. So I said, okay, I'll start a new one. And I did. So there you go. No friends. Be my friend.
No friends, ouch.
Let's all be your friend. Come on, guys. Let's go. All right. So, maybe not as epic as like her story and any of these stories. I was also that weird kid too that listened to like stage music and like Super Smash Brothers Brawl. All those kind of remixes and everything. I was also that weird kid who listened to the GameCube startup screen for like 10 times because I actually thought that was good music. By the way, it still is good music. So, I was a freshman at RIT, and I was also a freshman at Eastman School of Music. There we go. I decided to go through 2 schools. Initially, I wanted to become a music major, And then my parents were like, nope, engineering degree, I'll get you money. I don't know about that. So, anyways, at my freshman year, I still kept my musicality, to my music talents towards RIT, and I knew there was like a couple like music minors and band and orchestra and all that. But I was like, I look through YouTube and I see all these like wonderful performances from like UMD. There was like one in like Ithaca College. There was Baltimore as well, Washington Metropolitan, and all these wonderful like orchestra people that are performing video game music. And I was like, I want to put one at RIT and also throughout Rochester as well. So my freshman year started. It was like 2015. It took 2 years to like recruit members and try to advertise this place. And we started in last year, and we had our first performance, like I think just last month, and it's all up on YouTube. And I'm just like, wow, everyone's excited, and people love the videos, and I'm like, I'm gonna continue this. So yeah, that's basically about me and my orchestra.
Okay, awesome. So I realized I didn't share my story, but I'm going to do so now. So the GSO almost didn't happen because of the, I would say, fateful decision I made, I think, from 5th grade going into 6th grade. So I started playing the violin in 4th grade through the public school system. And then when we registered for middle school, I said I wanted to switch to flute because I didn't think I was very good at the violin and didn't really enjoy practicing. So on the registration for middle school, I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch to band. And then I had this concert, my elementary school concert at my middle school that I was gonna go into. And after the concert, went into the back room to pack up, and all of a sudden there's this tall man that comes in who's very intimidating. And he's like, I've heard you're switching to band. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, why? Why don't you wanna sing orchestra? And I was like, and imagine I'm like this little 11-year-old. He's like, well, what about viola, cello, or bass? And I was like, fine, I'll just stay on violin. I was so scared of him. And and even I went, so my middle school teacher, he was like very intimidating, but he was very, very good. And when I went back to visit my high school, I think a couple years ago, I went to observe one of his orchestra class, and the concertmaster like looked at me, like 7th grader. She's like, were you scared of him too when you were in middle school? So I was like, yes, I was. But he was an amazing teacher, conductor. And then the video game music part, I don't have any brothers, so I just have sisters. So how I got introduced to video games was through my boy cousin, and he would always like bring his NES system over, or we go to his house to play. And then we would do like a lot of role playing. And I remember like when I was young, I would pretend I think I have two younger sisters, so we would pretend we were like Mario, Luigi, and I think Princess, and then we pretend my dad was Bowser while he was like just sitting at the computer working on stuff, and he had no idea that we made him the villain. So it was like something I got involved in very early. And so when I was in college, I was part of the University of Maryland Repertoire Orchestra, which is for non-music majors, and then that's around 2004, and Video Games Live came out, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool. And I wasn't satisfied just like sitting in the audience, watching the musicians play. So I was like, I really want to be on that stage, performing that music. So I approached my conductor at the time to see what he thought, and he was actually very encouraging. And he's like, why don't you make an announcement for the next rehearsal? So that's what I did. And I remember I was so nervous. I'm a very shy person, so I was like very nervous making an announcement. But from that first announcement, I got my first members, and it kind of went from there. And I feel very blessed and very fortunate of all the people I've met through, the orchestra. So I would say, what do you guys think about, what is the role music play in games, and how does it establish scene setting and mood? Anyone?
Sure. Just repeat the question again.
Sure. What role does music play in games? How does it establish setting, scene, and mood?
Oh, that's a you say it's an easy question. To me, it's like an easy question, but it's just a very long explanation to say this. You know, when you look at video game music. I remember taking a class at Eastman, and it was like talking about like why video game music is so, vivid. Like what makes it so popular, and like kind of the rest of the music. And there's three things that what makes video game music so wonderful: nostalgia, immersiveness, and interactivity. And what's nice of what video game music, what it does, to establish the setting, the mood, and everything, is that you have a visual that kind of gives you kind of a base set of what you want to feel, what's happening, what gets your mindset going with this. Let's say you take a Mario game. It's a very casual, very simplistic kind of style, and it's more to be a fun game. While as you play Dark Souls, and you're just like hot-headed, and you're just like, I'm out of this. Get me out of here. So what video game music tends to do is to really enhance the feeling of playing video games and enhance your feeling of whatever you're doing. I could be studying here, listening to some Animal Crossing music, and I'm just like, it just gets me going, with this, and I'm like, this is my go-to music. By the way, Wild World, best. Anyways, so video game music, it just sets, it's able to set. It's just like any other kind of music you listen to, either in film music or just any other pop music as well. It allows to create a story. It allows to create some sort of mindset for you, like that. Whatever you'll be doing kind of enhances that feeling. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyone else want to respond?
So when I was growing up, I was kind of like Alex. My parents didn't really let me play video games, and so being the little rascal that I was as a kid, that meant that I played my video games without any sound, because then my parents wouldn't know, right? So growing up, I played Chrono Trigger without sound. I played Super Mario RPG without sound. Yeah, I know, right? The only one that I played with sound, and it was because my dad like bought it for me actually, so I felt like it was okay to play it with like sound on. Turned out it wasn't, but that's okay. The only one that I did play with sound was Pokemon, and one of our arrangers, very very talented arranger Jacob Cappage Gross, wrote a piece called Nostalgia Red and Blue, and it is just music from Red and Blue, Pokemon Red and Blue, and the first time we played it. When there's a part in the middle of it where it plays the music from the Pokemon Center, and I just remember sitting there because I had rest because I play saxophone, so I don't really get to play a lot of it. But I remember sitting there just counting and like losing track of my count because I was just so enamored by it and just living in that nostalgia, living in that time where I was just like, man, this reminds me of when I was a kid. So yeah, I can tell you for a fact, video games are a lot more fun with sound. And the music is just so important, and it takes away from a lot of it when you don't have the music on.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
Small bit to add. I'm a big fan of something that Tommy Tallarico, the creator of Video Games Live, said. It's that when you're playing a video game, the music becomes the soundtrack to your life. So when you're watching Star Wars, John Williams' score is incredible, but you're watching the soundtrack to Luke Skywalker's life. And you can have sympathy for the highs and lows that he experiences and feel those emotions that way, but the emotions are going to be so much stronger when they are happening to you. So whether it be a RPG where the character is an avatar and it's very much you, or Legend of Zelda where you might have that awareness that you aren't Link, but it's still you are going through the experiences actively with Link, so that active involvement in the story and with the music and how the music develops is, I think, what makes video game music so powerful and so much more, nostalgic and just inherently binding than any other medium's sort of music.
Okay, great, Joel. Eman, and then Alex.
Sure. I mean, just to kind of piggyback on all this, we all know, like, we're all audio people here. We're all musicians here. We know that music tells a story to what you guys are doing in games. But when you take this to a live performance, and you hear like a theme from, Final Fantasy. You hear One Winged Angel. What's the first thing you think of? You're like, oh crap, there's that boss battle I did when I played this game 15 plus years ago. So like that's the role to me. That's the role that happens when you bring this to the stage. When you're actually bringing it to a live performance, is you're giving the opportunity for people to really like get this feeling of not only nostalgia but mostly goosebumps for a lot of people. When they hear something they're so familiar with or something that they've really loved and experienced. So I mean, even if you're creating it from scratch or you're performing somebody else's music, remember not only the story that's being told in the game, but the impact of the story that could have on somebody else. Like when you think of something an event that happened in a game, it's relating to you somehow because the story is built that way, and then that's being chained back to the music, which is being chained back to somebody else that's in an audience experiencing it either live for the first time or for the first time really ever.
Yeah, and to chain off of that, you actually can think about this experience to affect to people who don't play games at all. Because let's say like Pokemon Go, right? When you go to Central Park and play Pokemon Go, you have a different experience of Central Park than somebody who doesn't play Pokemon Go, for example. Or depending on what you see, it's a different experience. Yet you can all say that you went to Central Park. The same with MAGFest, right? You went to this panel. Obviously not everyone went to this panel, but you can say you went to MAGFest. It's part of this greater narrative, and I'm thinking academically they call it like locative or this shared space. It's an idea that the music can be experienced differently by everyone who plays. Like Breath of the Wild pretty much says this because even though like the same music plays when you're on the plains, right? Some people ride horses a lot, some people don't. Some people, just use their bows and spam so that you can hear nothing but the bomb arrows going off in the background. And the other people are just there to listen to, the ambient sounds in the background. Or you hear the Guardian theme in the background. And then you run. Yeah. So this experience is different for everyone who plays it. And even when somebody who's not playing a game hears it, you can feel like you're in a boss fight. You might not know with who. And you can fight different bosses with the same music. So this idea of connecting different experience as one. And I think that's where this music is really, truly magical.
Yeah, it is very, truly magical. Does anyone want to add before I go to the next question?
So one of the other things that I've found that is really sort of different about video game music is that when you hear a soundtrack to something that you haven't played before, if you like it, you might actually become more interested in buying the game. Whereas with just some regular pop song, you might not necessarily want to go buy the album. But if you really like some sort of soundtrack to some game, you might be like, oh, okay, I want to look into this game. Like I remember, I think it was our second semester where before Bravely Default became popular, one of my arrangers who had somehow already gotten a lot of the music to Bravely Default. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's too early to talk this talking. Yeah. But yeah, no, I had never heard anything about Bravely Default before one of my arrangers was like, I want to do Bravely Default. We're doing Bravely Default. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And we listened to the music and we started performing, and I'm like, oh, this is good. I got to check this out. Like, okay. So that it's different how you can hear something and then be like, oh, okay, I got to look into this game. That sounded really good.
So basically marketing, if you want to make money, do video game music.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. So can you, each of you share your experience either with operations, marketing, recruiting, admin, outreach? I know it's gonna, and try to keep it short if you can, because I have some more questions. So I know it's a lot. Joe, you can start.
All right. Marketing, recruiting. This is fun. So I came down to MAGFest, I think my first time, 2014, and I met some people from the Washington Metro. I mean, met up with them, I guess, at their table, Washington Metro group. And they very graciously allowed me to leave some business cards because, I was trying to start this thing. And then, so I leave the table, and then Chris and Leanne, they're in the audience. They're in Montclair Gamer Symphony Orchestra. They come by the table. And they're like, wow, this is really cool. I wish there was something like this in Jersey. And the people at the WM table were like, well, there is. There's this girl. She's starting to sing. And, so they actually emailed me. And then 8 months later, I got back to them. Better late than never. I'm good at email. And I was like, yo, you want to play a concert in like 2 weeks? That is how you recruit members, but maybe in a better way than that, and then we played a concert, and then usually what I notice is happening is that we have some marketing efforts on Meetup.com run by George over there. He's another one of our members. We get some people in through that, so some online marketing, but a lot of it is from word of mouth. So everyone comes to the group. They have a great time. And they tell their friends, they're like, you have to come. And the friends are like, I don't know. So they kidnap their friends, and, then we get more friends. And that's how it starts to grow. And it's really cool.
Awesome.
It's a lot harder to ignore someone when they're right in your face. TLDR.
Watch me. Yeah, so incidentally, this is actually why we would suggest plan everything at least 10 months in advance. That was the advice I gave me when I went to a con, and they were like, okay, and I asked them, how do you plan something like that? And they're like, 10 months in advance, nothing shorter of that. Because it takes a lot of time for people to respond to you with emails, especially when you have to go back and forth. Because 3 business days is a lie. You will actually never get that. So Kennedy Center, which is what actually the Gamer Symphony Orchestra will be doing in March of this year, we have a gig there, to promote video game music and whatnot. That started at least 3 years in advance. I was pretty much calling them on a daily basis when I was supposed to be at work. So I have an excuse to say that this is not gaming. I'm not actually gaming. I'm just planning the gaming. So evil scheming in the background. So there's a lot of planning that goes into this. There's a lot of legwork. You kind of want other people to suffer with you. So drag as many other people into it as possible. And help is good.
Yeah.
Those who know, because they spent way too much time working on this.
Okay. Kira or Dean, do you want to go?
When you are first starting something by yourself, like you can either go like one of 2 ways, in my opinion. One, you can try and plan it out first, or you can just jump in and do it. And I, unfortunately, am one of those jump in and do it people. So I just started a Facebook page, and I was like, hey, let's meet here. And then we did, and had a good time. So like I had like maybe like 30 people show up to the first one, and I just planned it like a week ahead of time. Didn't even have a website, didn't have an email, didn't have anything formal like that. And then once I knew I had like some structure, I pulled some people aside that I saw were like really too excited about this, and I thought, okay, I can rein them in and make them do my bidding. And then, and then after that, then we started really planning and started like looking at like venues and stuff like that, because I wanted to know that I had like a group first before we run out and tried to like become well known. Yeah. So
okay, awesome. You're good. Okay. You're good. Masha.
I think my greatest tip for this is it's okay to start small. It's like with the Seattle VGOC, we started really small. We had like a string quartet, like 1 clarinet player, and it's okay because like with even a small group, you can still go to like bookstores, coffee shops, and then your group will start to grow, and then you can start performing at conventions. That's what the Seattle VGOC likes to do. We perform at like anime conventions, gaming conventions, and that really helps with recruitment too. And also just kind of being connected with like the classical community of your city or wherever you're located is really helpful, because we got a lot of people from like the Seattle Symphony and just kind of other community orchestras that wanted to play like new popular music. So that's another great way to do outreach, is kind of like connecting with like the general music community. There will be people who kind of cross over and they love both genres.
Yeah, to jump in basically for that, definitely look for companies that whose branding involves either music or gaming. So some aspect of your organization should be really a part of their branding as well, because those people are more willing to partner with you or at least help you out. So I'm not sponsored by any company, but basically, like, if you look at Arby's recent ads, they're very gaming friendly, and not nihilist Arby, mind you, but like also stuff like Potbellies, they support a lot of local musicians. Those kind of companies, their part of their branding is to support local musicians, local gamers, and whatnot. And it's really easy to go in and say, hey, we're a gamer, we're a part of your brand, you should support us. So that gives you a leg up when making those communications.
Joe?
My only thing about this, just to put it out there, video game music is a really, really easy product to sell because everybody loves it, right? Or rather, everyone either really loves it or like just doesn't care, right? And the people who really, really love it will then proselytize for you, right? And they will go out and say, "Hey guys, there's this thing. You should go check it out." Um, don't get uh, don't get paralyzed by overthinking it and over planning it. Don't get paralyzed by thinking, oh well, I've only got like two people. What the heck am I gonna do? Right? Go to the Potbellies, go to wherever, right? And put your name out there because it is so easy to get people to join if you put yourself out there. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of perseverance, and it's not going to be easy. But people are out there that want to join, and I can't tell you I can't tell you how easy it is to sell the products. It as long as people hear it, they will want it.
That actually really good segue into what I was going to say anyway. Video game orchestras are very much a if you build it, they will come type of thing. That just look at how big MAGFest is right now. And that was a lot of what I tried to do when I was doing a lot of outreach and just in my own work with trying to get more orchestras off the ground. It's just that if you build it, they will come. You just need the drive to build it. And like Joe said, don't be paralyzed. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do alone. But if you can delegate, if you have a few friends, even if it's only one or two with you, it is not something that is overwhelming. And nothing here that we have done is spectacularly innovative or complex. It's just having the due diligence and the drive to just get some things done, to just reach out, talk to people, say, all right, we're going to meet to rehearse at this time, at this place. It doesn't even need to be a big thing of a reservation. It could be, all right, we're going to rehearse at this house, or if we're able to get a community rec center or something very simple. There's nothing that you need a training manual for how to do that. We can provide tips and we will gladly give all the advice in the world, but nothing here is heavy lifting, rocket science. It's just getting yourself out there and having the passion to just do these little things that add up into 120-piece orchestras.
Okay, I think Eman wanted to add.
Honestly, just do it. Like the Summoners Orchestra, just do it. With the Summoners Orchestra, we started with 4 string players, and we had like a full wind section, so that was chaos in its own. But like just find out a way to do it. Work with what you've got, and you'll make something happen. Like everyone else is saying here, it's not rocket science. You just have to take the time to really get what you want out of it, and you'll make it happen.
Well, and branch out, like Alyssa's story about how like the WMGSO pointed out to people that there is something there, and that's a struggle that I find myself in too, because I see like a kid at like UMBC wants to start it, and I'm like, oh, but we're like right down the road, and they're like, yeah, but I want to start. I'm like, well, can we help you? And then like, oh, I have to do finals, and then nothing ever happens. So it's like, do reach out, do like, try to connect and not just, oh, I'm going to start my own. Oh, but wait, there's something down the street. But be able to help. Be like, okay, maybe I can't start my own, but I'll definitely help out. Or can we start a branch? You know what I mean? Like branch out. Don't just like shoot up in the sky and falcon punch somebody. Like do it the right way. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, sorry.
I'm pretty sure.
So, I want to ask you guys, how do you take a soundtrack and like turn it into orchestra score? How do you get people sheet music? Whoever wants to start.
This is fun. So the thing to keep in mind with video game music is that it is designed to loop, and inherently that does not lend itself to concert music because concert music needs a beginning, middle, and end. So the biggest thing to keep in mind when you're arranging video game music is that you have to write an ending. You know, you have to create a piece of music that grows and develops over time. Instead of something that's kind of like a static loop that you would hear in a video game. So that is something very important to keep in mind. How do you arrange? You just do it, I guess. I mean, that's a... there's a lot of... I just say, like, if you're, like, really starting bare bones at the bottom, just, like, get familiar with every instrument in your group or in an orchestra and really just know what they do. I think one of the Philharmonic websites has like something like a resource for kids about, introduction to instruments, and it's really cool. Get a book on orchestration. I like Rimsky-Korsakov. Very good. And just learn what every instrument does, and just start small. Start with maybe an instrument you're familiar with. Start with if you play flute, start with that, and arrange for maybe an instrument family that you're familiar with, and then start branching out. And that's how you do it. And how you get sheet music together, just get some notation software, Finale, Sibelius, I guess. And, make nice, neat-looking sheet music. Please look at your parts and make sure that they are legible, that everything looks good, and that it's clear, and
no text
friends
collisions.
and have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I see some looks of horror when she said just do it. So, okay, so here's how you do it. You sit at a piano, learn what the keys are, and then you sit and you listen to the piece of music 50 times. And then, after you do that, you start plunking at if you know nothing about music, you start plunking at keys, and when it starts sounding right, write that down. that is the note. F sharp. Got it. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Learn what key signatures are. Know that if this black key is here, it might be X, Y, or Z. If this white key is here, it might be X, Y, or Z. Keep plunking out notes and write that down. Then go ahead and once you have that, you can figure out what key signature you're in, and after that, you're good to go. If you want a good exercise, find like VGO scores online. They already have stuff online for you for free. So if you want to start your own thing and you don't have any arrangers, go there. Boom. We've been like stealing his stuff. He loves it. He's like, okay, go ahead, take it. You should get a program like she just said, and don't look at the score yet. Try to arrange it yourself.
Okay, cool.
And then do that, and compare it to what he did, and see if it's the same.
Time, Dean, and then Eman, and then we'll have to move to the next question.
Yeah, sure. So, as Akira mentioned, it's easy. I promise you, it's easy to take a video game music and kind of transpose it to piano or some instrument that you that has a kind of grand scale, and kind of transpose from there. Let me tell you, when you listen to any video game music, you hear a melody and a bass line and a couple things in between, whatever they are. And what I do when it comes to arrangement is go to a piano, be familiar with it, and kind of just plunk some keys to kind of figure out. Write your melody line, write your bass line, figure out your chord, get into that whole advanced music theory sort of thing, be like, what are the chord structures and everything, but that's a whole different story. And that's the easy part. One of the hardest things, though, is instrumentation. Is how do you take now your 4 lines of music and transverse that to 10 instruments, 20 instruments, 25 instruments, whatever. And that is very hard to do. But one little tip I do want to say is, if you're be involved with a lot of friends, a lot of people that plays different kinds of instruments. Because of going into a music school, I met a lot of people who play a lot of different instruments. Common trumpets, flutes to French horn, a bassoon, stuff like that, and you get to learn how meet them, tell how do they play, what's kind of the most common what's their favorite key signature, what's their least favorite key signature, what's their range of notes. Get to know these instruments, and by doing that, get to know the people. That helps me a lot with a lot of this.
Okay, sorry, Dean.
No, it's all good.
Okay, there's something we're all missing here. It's sometimes you forget that composers are people too, and they love to have their music performed. So ask them, and they might actually just give you the music to perform. I know with my experience with the Summoners Orchestra, I got very lucky to build a relationship with Riot, and I would ask them, hey, do you guys have scores for these tracks that we could use? Sure, here you go. And that was it. Sometimes it can be that easy. It's just build relationships with composers, and again, they're just people. We all fangirl over our favorite composers. That's always going to be a thing. But they can just give you, access to the stuff that you might need because they want to be there for their performances or the performances of their music.
Okay, awesome. I think yeah, go ahead and chime in.
Yeah, I just have like one last final comment on this. Use Score as your best friend. It's a free notation software. That's what Seattle BGRC uses. Yeah, it's great. Because everything else is like $500. We're not about that, no. But yeah, so the biggest tip I can give is don't feel like you need to start doing an 80-piece arrangement. Even if you just find like a piano solo and maybe make it for 2 instruments, that's great. Because like especially with the Seattle BGRC, we have our own arranging and orchestration group because we love to help each other. We love to, help, like someone might know how to do this, someone might have better orchestration, so don't feel like you're doing this alone. Yeah, so get Muse Score, it's free, you can share your score with other people, it's great. So don't feel like you need to use fancy software or make an 80-piece crazy arrangement. Like starting small is great, and don't feel bad.
Okay.
And mostly definitely have fun doing it.
Oh my God.
Make sure that
Sorry.
you're
Can we hold it till the end? Like maybe if people want to talk to you guys after. I think we're running out of time. Sorry.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what
Yeah. Okay. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
and have
Okay.
fun while doing it.
Okay, so my last question for our panelists today. Yes, a secret question. Okay, so I was at dinner with these guys last night talking about the panel, and I was like, hey, I'm going to ask you guys questions on these topics, but there's one question that I'm not going to reveal until the day of the panel, and I'm going to ask it. I'm going to ask it now.
I'm honestly scared right now.
And so the question was, so I asked these guys to submit me questions they wanted me to ask them. So secret question is something that one of you submitted, actually. And it has to do with our mascot this year, King Donut. and so the question is, it is a well-known fact that MAGFest is not a donut. GSOs or gamer orchestras are also not donuts, but if they were, what type of donut would your orchestra be?
Who requested this question?
Yeah.
Jelly filled. Because it kind of looks maybe not very appealing on the outside or whatever, but there is a lot to us, and a lot that we do. And maybe that's just the way that I see it, because I see a lot of the nitty gritty and a lot of the dust and stuff on it. But man, I love our orchestra. I love our organization. And when I think about it, you bite into it, and there's just so much to it. So much jelly. I'm really annoyed that I went first too, because I didn't have a chance to think about this at all.
Sorry.
I submitted that question. All hail King Donut, long may he reign. The Magruder High School GSO would probably be a classic glazed donut because it's still a high school, it's still going now, and they're almost at their 10th anniversary. I'm super proud of them for still going on after I graduated. And it's like just 30, 40 high schoolers. They're still high schoolers. Their musicality level isn't super high, but they're doing their best, and it's awesome, and it's very simple, but still awesome. I'd say the Maryland GSO, and obviously there are others, so I don't have the final word on this, but I'd say it's very much a chocolate frosted with rainbow sprinkles, just fun.
Close your eyes. Imagine. Now close it. Imagine the freshest, tastiest donuts. Whatever that is in your hearts. Because we might have bias. I don't know. We're we go nuts for cronuts. I don't know. It's something memes, donut, fun, sprinkles. Next.
I gotta say cinnamon sugar donut, because that's my favorite donut. That's my train of thought and logic. Flawless.
I guess the VGOC would probably be like a nice big glazed donut, but like with Pokeball like frosting on it, because Pokemon is really important to us. We play like string arrangements, orchestral arrangements, and our concert master is actually a professional Pokemon commentator. So yeah, it's really important. So yeah, Pokeball.
I'm literally looking at a list of donuts right now. And looking at this list, I would probably say the Summer's Orchestra is a vanilla frosted donut, which it basically is just, we're a group that's, we're vanilla in a sense. We're just very much a community, but we've got a little sprinkles here and there that make us a little more special.
So I'm obviously a donut connoisseur, if you can't tell by my face already, but I would say that we're more of a Schrodinger donut. We're there, but then we're not. It's like what you want out of it, you can get out of it, and what you don't want out of it, you also get out of it sometimes. So there's not a lot to say. We're a donut, but then like Michelle said, we're also not a donut.
This is a great question.
Okay, so I would say, based on our logo, we are a blueberry donut with vanilla, because we're blue and white. And then we have purple sprinkles for ravens. And yes, we're Baltimore. So, but the good thing about the sprinkles is that the ones that stay, stick, and the ones that shouldn't be there fall off. So there you go.
That was deep.
But the sprinkles are right.
Yeah, the sprinkles are always around.
I'm trying to think of like the menu coming from like Dunkin' Donuts right now. I'm trying to imagine in my head. I don't know. I'm gonna say something different. I imagine my orchestra as munchkins. The ones you get at Dunkin' Donuts. Like I imagine each munchkin as a different song we introduce, song we do, and it's I don't know. It's like every bite counts. Every bite counts. You get one of each different flavors. Get a different feeling to each one. And then the box is like our home, I guess. I don't know. with hopefully a sponsor of Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay, thank you guys for coming out. We're going to go into announcements. Some of us have announcements, and then we're going to go straight into Q&A. And if we run out of time for a Q&A, we'll be happy to chat with you outside, like in the hallway or afterwards. So I think Joe, Tyler, and Alex have announcements.
All right. Well, as I said at the top of the panel, we are going to be playing on the main stage at 1:30. Come check us out. We're super excited. This is our first year being here, and we're really, really, really stoked. So thanks.
Yeah, that's in the Potomac Ballroom. Yeah, Potomac Ballroom, 1:30. Washington Metropolitan Gamer Symphony Orchestra will be performing live orchestral video game music. Go ahead. Yeah, it's fine.
So this year is the 5th year anniversary of 8-Bit Orchestra's founding, and we are having a big 5th year anniversary concert celebration. We don't have the date solidified yet, but we do know that it's going to be a really big event, and it will be live streamed on Twitch, so come watch that one.
We also, Montclair Gaming Symphony Orchestra has a spring concert coming up, also date not solidified, TBD May sometime. But we also stream, so you do not have to come to New Jersey. But we would love to see you. So if you're in and around New Jersey, you can come out and check us out. It doesn't smell as bad as people say it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, GSdOUMD has their spring concerts April 20th and April 21st. It's gonna be nighttime, so if you're in the Maryland area, definitely follow, or you can catch us on Twitch. But this year we're doing something special. We're, as I mentioned before, we are actually going to be at the Kennedy Center as part of their Direct Current event to celebrate contemporary culture, and we'll be performing a concert called From Bits to Brass, a symphonic adventure through video game music. We're going to have joint pieces for a joint choir and orchestra pieces that cover pretty much the entirety of the VGM genre, and just to give like everybody, including non-gamers, a feel of why VGM is important. So if you guys are interested, come on out to the Kennedy Center. It's free for everyone. We'd love to see you there. It is March 10th. It is Mario Day.
Oh, it is Mario Day. Yeah. I just want to add, I'm also going to be part of that performance with the University of Maryland Gamers Symphony Orchestra. So I really hope that you guys can come out and support us at the Kennedy Center. It would really mean a lot to us. I think no one else has any announcements?
Yeah, so if you are in Seattle for some amazing reason, we will be playing SoccerCon this year, and we'll also be at Bellingham Anime Expo, and we do frequent little chamber concerts on Twitch. So if you go to Seattle and GOC on Twitch,
Okay, and I just want to remind everyone again, if you want to get our contact information, this is the website here that I put up. Feel free to contact any of us. Okay, so time for Q&A, yeah. Q&A. Let's see. Do you guys have mics?
No, let's just pass that mic over.
Okay.
Yeah, just talk. You're good.
Do you guys want to just come up and ask your question?
We can hear you.
Morning.
Morning.
So we're actually in a community band, and I just there's a local band that we really like, and I just one day said I want to do a performance with them, with this band, and the styles are so different. So we're trying to get our band on board with it, just this community band, and the clincher has been the music.
As a community band, like, we're not quite an orchestra. Our trick is either finding, I think we'll have some resources here to find arrangers, but trying to find band music. Is there any resources, or where could we go to find that, or kind of contact you guys?
So if I'm understanding the question, you guys are a community band, community ensemble, and you need band music that's not necessarily orchestral music? Okay. Yeah, you'd have to find arrangers for the most part, but also J.W. Pepper and some websites that are like distributors. They have, Hal Leonard I think is very good at that too. And they have some band symphonic wind music that you can use. I know they have like video games live arrangements that go through them. Some other, a lot of different video games that go through that. So if you go through like a music publishing company, Hal Leonard, J.W. Pepper, those are different websites that work. And those do work. And if you want something more specific to your ensemble, yes, find other arrangers that can help you out with that.
San Jose.
Yeah. But definitely also check out YouTube, because there's a lot of I find when doing my research for arrangements, I also find a lot of existing arrangements for a lot of concert bands actually on YouTube as well. MuseScore, they actually have community, so people post a lot of their arrangements online. Yeah, and they're a lot. Concert bands are very popular, instrumentation. So you'll be able to find a lot of pieces there, and just make sure you talk to them and make sure they're okay with it. But other than that,
No, just be loud. Just project. Just talk to us. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're there.
I was wondering if there's any centralized resources for the GSO community to network with each other. And I asked that because I live in San Francisco, and I didn't know until 5 seconds ago that there was a group just south of me.
Yeah, we
That has been several years worth. Easy way to keep up with things. I'm pretty sure every group up here has a Facebook page. Some of us have Facebook is generally what we found to be the easiest way to organize members. So I would search for those particular local groups. And yeah, I know we want to actually have a centralized thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's business cards too, and get you all, we get you in, we'll Facebook group, we'll get you going. Stop.
Yeah, Mike, so you can actually contact me because I know we actually have like an internal Facebook group with all the founders and all the groups. So if you just want to contact me, I can try to put you in touch with some people. Yeah.
I think
that's
that brings
actually how I actually met this group. I contacted, Michelle has a YouTube channel, GSO Founder, and she posts a lot of performances from different orchestras, and I decided to contact her. There's like an email, look up the YouTube, check out the business inquiry, the email and such. And yeah, that's how I got in. You could do the same as well.
So,
we do both.
there's a lot of really good new video game music at the same time. Like Super Mario Bros. Soundtrack is old enough to have a wife, kid, and have had basically half of its life with crippling student debt. How much do you assume that your audiences are already familiar with the music that you have, and what do you do to try and make sure that even if they're not familiar with the music on any particular thing, that they still enjoy it? We've talked a lot about nostalgia, but not everyone has that nostalgia.
I
was gonna say. So I'll say this: we try not to load up our concerts with like Mario and Zelda. I mean, the classics are good, right? But there's a lot of really, really good new music coming out, and a lot of recent games that are coming out. And generally speaking, though, my experience with it and what I've heard from people have been that no matter what, no matter when the music came out, it's still good music, right? Video game music is good music regardless of whether or not you know where it comes from. We try to put like notes into our programs to kind of give some context if you don't know where it's from. But at the end of the day, video game music is just music, and it's good music.
Make the performance awesome. Just have a kick-ass performance, and people will love it. Like we get people's like parents who are in the orchestra and grandparents, and they've never played a video game, but they always say they enjoy the concert because we're always having fun doing it, and we always put on an awesome performance. That's all you have to do.
The coolest thing was when we played at the Baltimore County Adoption Day, and we didn't tell them who we were. And at the very end of our performance, I made a little announcement. And these are people that are just here because they want to watch their, families get, their child being adopted. And I said, well, all of this music was from video game. And they all went, like that. Like, I swear to God, they all went like that because they had no idea. And so, honestly, like Joe said, it's just good music. And use it as an educational tool. Hey, this is awesome. You should like it.
I know that.
I think we actually have to start wrapping up. Yeah.
So my question is for Alex Yu.
What's up?
How's Dumb Ways to Die doing? First draft deadline is like tomorrow.
Yes, that's actually still in the works. So MAGFest, I blame MAGFest. That's the answer.
Yeah, I figured. For real, I'm Chase Frederick. I'm one of the current co-conductors and co-course conductors for the University of Maryland GSO, and it's nice to be able to like actually meet a lot of the people I've been hearing about for years. So this is a really cool thing. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, I think we have to wrap up. So thank you so much for coming out to our panel. We really appreciate it. So wonderful to have you. If you have other questions you want to come to us individually, we'll be happy to meet you in the hallway.